up, guys? This is Lewis back with another episode of The Development. And today we have a special guest, Wally Wingert. I think I said your last name right.
Yeah, right on, spot on.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's COVID life has been treating you?
Fine. It's not really much different. Voiceover is pretty much a socially distanced profession by its nature anyway, so we're all good. So it's work at home now and send files in as opposed to go to studios, but I'm still going to studios from time to time, so it's pretty cool. But
Okay.
I'm ready for it to be over. Quite frankly, I'm ready for this
Yeah, I
craziness to be.
understand that. Yeah, yes, it's pretty crazy, but hopefully soon enough things will get a little back to normal. We
Let's
can't we
hope.
can't fully expect everything.
Now, where are you at now?
I'm in New York City.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well, that's been really pretty hard hit. So hopefully
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
can get back to normal.
yeah, definitely. Hope and I know with you being in California, right?
Hmm.
It's pretty okay over there.
No,
Some
no,
no,
our leaders are abject idiots who don't know anything about science, and they just pull things out of their ass and call it law when they really have no authority to do so. But nobody challenges them, so they can do it. So
yeah,
the emperor makes a declaration, and we all have to follow it, whether it's correct or not. So anyway.
yeah,
But
totally understand.
You being from New York know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
Without
yeah,
getting political at all, I just yeah. I think
yeah,
this whole thing has showed us who the real leaders are and who the real leaders aren't, and now we know.
definitely, definitely.
Anyway,
All right, let's get past this craziness.
yes.
Let's start with you. So, from I know you've been in Power Rangers. You've done a lot of voiceover work. You recently, not so long ago, did some voiceover for Ways, which was awesome.
Hmm.
Um, tell us more about that Ways experience, because I um I saw it on there on the update where it was just like, oh, we have new voices and characters and Ways, and I was like, ooh, and then I saw the Batman, and there was Batman and Riddler, and that was you playing Riddler, and
Right.
I was like, oh snap. And I noticed your voice because you had voiced him before. And but how did that come about? That was like the most coolest little update that they had going on for a while.
Well, they Warner decided that they wanted to partner with Waze, or Waze wanted to partner with Warner for Batman Day back in September, October. And they wanted Batman, and they wanted the Riddler to record some prompts that they could use in the Waze application. And for a couple hours, went in and just read everything they had, and they integrated it into their system, and it worked out marvelously. So that was pretty cool, actually. And they just called my agent and said, "Hey, would Wally do this for this certain amount of money?" And I'm like, "I'll do the Riddler for any amount of money. I don't care what they're paying. I'm happy to do it because I love that character." So
Yeah,
yeah, just banged it on out, and there it was. I wish it would have lasted longer because a lot of people email me going, "Hey, how come it went away? I liked having the Riddler tell me that I'm an imbecile and I shouldn't have turned there."
yeah. I was just about to say that. Yeah, like it was really like cool for a moment, and then when like I went to use Waze this one time because I don't use it a lot, but I did just because of the Batman theme in the feel, and when it went away, I was just like, oh no. And I'm like, I guess like because all these there's just a lot of characters in there, so I guess they can't keep them all. But it was pretty cool, especially in New York, since like the whole Batman vibe and Gotham
Right.
City, New York. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I do it again tomorrow if they ask me. It's pretty awesome. And I don't use any navigation services because I have a flip phone, so
Yeah.
I don't do any of that fancy schmancy stuff. But I have a friend who used it for a while, and we were driving around Palm Springs, and it was pretty cool. And yeah, so I can understand and appreciate the charm of it.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
I said I think I had a tweet that said I think I'm going to use the Riddler today to tell me how to get to go find some pizza. And I said, I don't have the app. I'm just gonna say it out loud myself and tell myself how to, I'll just do the voice myself. Turn
Yeah,
left
yeah.
up ahead, you imbecile. You should have stopped at the stop sign. So I'll just do it myself. I don't need to hear any app because I'll just read it out loud. Anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, with all the fantastic work you have done so far, from voiceover, from video games to characters that we know, what made you get into this industry? Like, what inspired you to be like, I want to be an actor, I want to be a voiceover? Like, what got you started in that?
I started wanting to dress up and be other people when I was about 5, watching the
Okay.
Batman TV series with Adam West. And then throughout my childhood, dressed up on days that weren't Halloween, much to the much to the chagrin of my neighbors who didn't understand why I was wearing plastic fangs and a cape and chasing girls around the neighborhood trying to bite them when it wasn't Halloween. And then just went into radio as a radio DJ when I was about 16. Did a lot of plays and did as many character things as I could, in the Midwest. And eventually moved to Los Angeles and said I'm gonna try and do this professionally. And quickly fell in love with voiceover and cartoons because had always loved cartoons. I'd always been a cartoonist, and I had always done character voices. I said I think this is something I'd really like to do. So fell into it, and after 20 some odd years of doing it, I'm looking back on stuff saying I did pretty much everything, so it was a pretty good thing. So, but there's still new stuff to do out there, so I'm
Oh
always looking
yeah,
for the next new challenge. So,
definitely, definitely. So, who can you say is, like, so far the best character that you have voiced?
well, I have a few favorites. One would be the Riddler, because
Yes.
the writing that they have for the Riddler is just so amazing. And I love John Arbuckle from the Garfield show
Oh
because
yes.
he's just such a dork, and I love him, and he's just he's a dork, but he's a lovable dork, and you kind of feel sorry for him, but you like him, and he's funny, and it's a good time. So those are the two Strange Length. Those are the two characters that are closest, I think, to my own voice print, and one's just a little lower, one's just a little higher, and
Yeah.
every time I do the Riddler, I seem to squint my eyes. Well, Batman. And every time I do John Arbuckle, I seem to bug my eyes. Okay, Garfield. Hey, should we go out and find some lasagna? It's time for dinner.
Oh
So
man.
it's all part of the facial expression that you kind of adopt when you're doing these characters. And it
Def-
looks odd, in the studio, but nobody ever sees you anyway. But yeah, it's just you got to kind of feel it in your physicality when you do these things. Those are probably my two favorites.
Definitely, definitely. I totally get it. You got to get into character when you see the character you're supposed to play, and you got to find your, I guess, your high and your low depending on who it is and
Right.
what it can be. Um.
It's
So
acting. It's just that you're not being on camera. You're not being seen. It's still acting. You're still
definitely,
taking words that somebody else wrote and making them sound like they're your words. So it's either in front of a microphone or in front of a camera or both or whatever you want to do. But it's acting is acting. So
yeah, yeah, definitely. Acting is acting. A lot of voiceovers, um, actors don't get appreciated, and that's unfortunate. And but at the end of the day, voice actors have a very important job when they're not in the front of the screen. They're behind whoever's in the costume. They gotta help voice that person in the costume.
yeah, we don't get into this business because we want to be famous
Right,
or
right.
recognized. We do it because we want to do the craft and we want to act and we want to go out and shop for groceries and not have people bother us and just still, make our money and have a comfortable living, and that's cool. And some of us don't care about being famous, and I could not care any less about being famous. I've gotten to do what I've loved to do for all of my professional career, and I feel very blessed to have done that. So,
Oh yeah, definitely. So I gotta say, as a fan of yours, from all the characters that you played, the one I really knew you before, growing up and then doing my own research when internet came about, was Power Rangers, and
mhm.
you was the Blue Psycho Ranger, and
Yeah.
And how did that go for you? Like how like what was like with the voiceover, was you any time at all like in a suit, or it was just your voice and it was somebody else in the suit?
I was never in a suit.
Okay.
Um, what was funny, I did a Power Ranger convention called Ranger Stop last year, and apparently in the storyline, I don't follow Power Rangers. I don't know the first thing about them, other than just they put a script in front of me and I read some words and I saw some video. But there were 5 Psycho Rangers, I believe.
Yes.
I think 3 of those actually were pictured on camera when they took human form, but
Mm,
2 of them had died before that happened, and one of them was Psycho Blue. So you never
yes.
saw who was in the Psycho Blue suit. So they got voiceover actors to do the 2 characters that would eventually be killed off, me being one of them. And then they hired on camera actors for the other parts because they knew that they'd eventually be showing up on camera. So one of the questions to the panel was, do you have any stories about being injured on the set? And the guy was saying, "Oh yeah, I did this, and then I twisted my ankle, and went for a kick, and then I pulled a muscle, and all that." And it came back to me and says, um, "I hit my elbow on the mic stand once in the session." That was my that was my injury story. I said, "I never put on the suit. I never put on the spandex. I never put a helmet on. It's just it had already been done and shot in Japan, and I went in and put my voice to the thing, and off I went. So I had that was my injury story. I banged my elbow on the mic stand. That was ooh,
Oh,
ouch,
well,
you know.
yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, unfortunately, you wasn't on there, and you was killed off, and only 3 was shown up. But as a fan favorite of mine, which is Power Rangers in Space, the cycles were like a big success in
Oh
that
yeah,
little series that they had, and it was great.
and they have the coolest costumes, I think.
Oh yeah, as villains, I think they did have the best costume. It was just this whole metallic feel with the
Sure.
paint and the suit, and just like you guys being buff and whatever. It was just like it was just like, oh, who's these villains? And so you can like be like, I want to be one of them.
Right. Yeah, it's but if had Psycho Blue actually lived and been on camera, it wouldn't have been me because
Mm,
I don't do that. So,
yeah,
because it was a voiceover only job, that's when they, came looking for me, and I guess I auditioned or something for it. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
had just come off 4 years as Beetlejuice at Universal Studios, so
Okay.
I could do a really high pitched wicked laugh that they seemed to like as part of the character. So that was kind of fun. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
I was mentioning in the interview I did earlier tonight that, when you dub a show like that, it's very bad money, and the money's just terrible. It's not like doing a cartoon or a film or something like that or anything. It's when you dub stuff from another country, it's horrible money. You
Mm,
don't do that work because you wanna be rich. You do it because it's fun and you meet some fun people and you have a good time. So,
yeah.
I said that the amount of the times that I went in to voice Blue Psycho Ranger was only a couple of sessions, and I might have made maybe 300 bucks, total, maybe.
Yeah,
And,
man.
and I said, when I did the Power Ranger convention last year, I made more money in 1 weekend just signing photos than I did during, actually working on the series. It's mind-boggling how that stuff works, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
That when you do an anime thing like that or something, you don't really do it for the money. You do it for the fans who will want to meet you later, and that's really the true reward. So
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
not the money, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I know a lot of um voice actors. A lot of them are very passionate with their work, that at the end of the day it doesn't matter like how much money they're making. They do it because they're very passionate about their work,
Yep.
and and they're just passionate about their fans. And if like this is what you want, this is the role that or the character that you want, you're gonna do it no matter what.
Yep. It's you got to have the passion for it. Well, they always
Okay,
the old saying is do what you love and the money will follow.
that is definitely true.
Yeah.
I
Don't go into anything with the intent that you're gonna I'm gonna do this and make a boatload of money. No, do it because you love it, and if the money will come around eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, that's very true. I said that. I always say that because I work with animals, and a lot of people are like, "Why you work with animals?" And I'm like, one, I don't need to deal with people,
Right? Yeah.
and two, it's just like, animal. A lot of these animals need a lot of love. Where like, they just need more. They just need more love. Beside, because they're living with different people, or they're just scared, or they just need more love in their life, and and I just love that. I don't I, like and also animals don't talk back to you.
You're
They may
right.
you, they may get
unless
mad at
unless you're
you.
John Arbuckle and you have Garfield,
Yeah, unless
then all he does is talk back to you. Yeah.
oh yeah, he's very catty and sarcastic.
Right. Right. What do you do with animals?
I'm a vet tech, so
Oh,
I'm basically working like the animal hospitals and everything.
sure.
Yeah, it's good. It's not about the pay for me, but it's about like my passion, and I love animals, so that's why I keep continue
Yep.
doing it.
Good. Well, that's and clearly, you get to afford to have Power Ranger helmets and all sorts of cool toys and all sorts of stuff. So, you know what? If you do what you love and what you're passionate about, and you make a few bucks to buy some Power Ranger helmets and some things you like, and then that's a good life. It's a
Yeah,
good life.
definitely. I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Um, so I also know you do like I think this is like more your passion. You also do like puppets.
Well, here, come here, come on, hang on, hang
Oh,
on.
yeah, yeah.
Speaking of speaking of which, here's one of my passions.
Oh, kitty.
Hello, say hello, Spook. Say hello,
Oh,
Mr. Spook.
oh, he's cute.
Say hello to Lewis. Say hello to Lewis. Look, he's stiff arming me. He's like, don't get too
Yeah, he's
close.
like, yeah,
Don't
he's
get
like, no, I don't want to be on camera.
what are you doing? So
Uh,
yeah, I love a lot of that stuff. I have for a long time puppets, cartoons, all the stuff. Okay, he's gonna get down now. Okay. And magic tricks, because watch this. I'm going to do a little razzle dazzle, and I'm going to turn my cat into a dog. Would you like to see me turn my cat into a dog?
Definitely.
Okay, Abracadabra, you are now Mr. Spook. You are now a dog. Boom! Hey, I'm a dog.
Um,
I was a
oh
cat. Now I'm a talking dog. Look at that. Hey, that's fantastic.
that's so awesome.
All right, is this thing on? Let's do a little number here. You can't
Ah,
live with them. You can't live without them. There's something irresistible-ish about them. Hello.
um,
Hi.
oh, that is so awesome. Hey.
How's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
Hard to believe I used to be a white cat. Now I'm a
Ah,
brown dog.
do you
Great.
like to be a dog or a cat more?
Um, hmm, since I've only been a dog for a couple minutes, I don't really know. But I like being a cat, but I think I like being a dog better. Better ears. Yep. Hello. Testing. Okay.
It's working. It's working. Oh, that's super cute. I gotta say, you're
Thank you.
super cute.
Thank you.
Oh,
So you're a vet
how
tech,
long? Yes, I'm a vet tech. Do you
huh?
have
Good.
any questions for yourself?
Got a little problem with my ear here. Take a look.
Yeah,
See that?
take a look.
Good.
You gotta clean it out.
No shots though. No shots.
No vaccines.
No
Are you
vaccine.
an anti-vaxxer?
All right. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to
Bye.
you.
See you later.
See you. That is super awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I
Uh,
brought him out just for you.
how long did that take you to make?
It took months because I had to do a little design work and then take it to the seamstress and then get the head done, and then you get the body done, and then you get the body and you sew it to the head, and then the hair guy needs to come over to do the trimming, because all the ears, the fur on the ears need trimming, and then I had to make the eyes, and my effects guy had to make the nose, and it's a big conglomeration of a lot of different pieces. But finally, he came together, and I was pretty happy with how he came together. He's a little bigger than what I thought he'd turn out to be. I think Rolf is actually a little smaller, but who cares? He looks cool in my room. And
Yeah,
from then
definitely.
on, I made several others. I made a Oscar the Grouch and a Robin the Frog, and I made a Green Grover and a character called Beautiful Day. And I'm working on with a friend of mine right now, working on a Prairie Dawn, which is a little teeny tiny girl, because my
Oh,
friend Michelle is a little teeny tiny girl, and I said, well, if you want to learn how to make a puppet, you should actually make a puppet that you can actually do the voice for and operate. So
yeah.
she wanted to do Beaker or something. I'm like, well, everybody does a Beaker, but if you did a Prairie Dawn, she can actually do the voice. So I'm like, okay, well. So the next thing I want to make is a Cookie Monster, but it's tough to find
Oh,
the right color of fur. So anyway,
yeah. That blue is like in between like a dark and a light, but it's just like right there.
yeah,
It's hard to choose.
I
So it's
I've
definitely your
a lot of the fur that they make now is too like royal blue. It's like kind of this blue. It's like, it's not really Cookie Monster. He's more like kind of almost an aqua kind of weird thing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll find it eventually, either with that or I'll have to maybe have it dyed or something, but I don't know. But I would love to get a Cookie Monster someday. And Cookie Monsters are pretty easy to make.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
they just, they have the little pins in the eyes to get the things to spin. But
yeah, yeah,
I made a Cookie Monster when I was 19. I've been making puppets since I was 19 years old. And that was like the first Muppet I made back in 1980, I believe.
yeah, yeah.
So everything comes around full circle, but, the Oscar the Grouch, I think, is probably my favorite that I've made so far, because it took me such a long time to figure out that eye blink mechanism, because he
Oh yeah,
frowns, and if you
yeah,
do
yeah.
that, he frowns, and then you do that, it's a little ring mechanism with some wire that go around it's really cool. So once you understand the principles of how they did that, it's easy to start using that in a lot of other puppets, because yeah, now I know how it works. There's a one called Beautiful Day, which is a
Okay.
very obscure Muppet from the early days. He's kind of a flat-headed blue monster with a big kind of mouth,
Yeah,
and I've always loved him since I was a kid. But he does have the frowning mechanism. But unlike Rolf and Oscar, which is horizontal, Beaker, Sam the Eagle, Beautiful Day, Hairy Monster, they're all perpendicular, and their
yeah, yeah.
lips go that way. So I had to figure out how to get the lip to move on Beautiful Day, but still get him to blink. So
Mm,
I had a little ring mechanism that I put in with a spring that was attached to like the plastic eyeballs.
yeah.
And I had a little ring that my finger could go in. And when he opens his eyes wide, I just do that. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then you do that and he frowns, and it's like kind of that. So that's the technique right there. Like I said, I could talk about Muppets all day. Anyway, so it's kind of fun. But the Prairie Dawn that we're making now, which is really super tiny,
Yeah.
I almost prefer to work on a big puppet like Oscar or Rolf or Beautiful Day, because working on the little teeny tiny parts, like the little eyes with the thing, is like it's so tough. You got to have the magnifying glasses, and you have to,
Yeah.
cut out the little eyelashes, and it's really tough. So
Yeah.
it's bigger to work on bigger stuff. And I started thinking about the Frankenstein book, book Frankenstein,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is the reason Dr. Frankenstein got a big corpse to operate on. That's why he wanted the bigger guy, is
Yeah.
because it's easier to sew the veins together and everything, as opposed to a smaller guy, which is a little tinier. So
Yeah.
that was exactly the reason that Dr. Frankenstein wanted a large corpse to operate on, because everything would be larger and easier to see. So anyway, I digress. So
So is this for like your personal collection, or does it go like is also used for like studio purposes?
no, it's my cosplay. It's I
No.
don't dress up in cosplay anymore. I used to a long time ago, but I've stopped doing that. So only my hand cosplays now. So I take Rolf out to the conventions, and there's some stuff of me on my YouTube channel, which is Planet Wallywood.
Ooh.
And you'll find it if you look up Animal at Comic Con. I took Animal to the San Diego Comic Con. That was pretty fun. I took
Oh,
Kermit to a Jim Henson exhibit at the Skirball Center and walked around and talked to people as Kermit.
That's
Took Rolf to WonderCon a couple of years ago. That was a good time. So I was getting ready to take Oscar to WonderCon, and then everything shut down. So I've got a lot of puppets ready to go. So when conventions open up again, I'm ready to get back and hit the floor and talk to some people. Because Oscar
awesome.
is always fun to do because you can insult
Oh
people and
yeah,
it's okay. It's all right. It's one of
and
the
people
reasons I love being Beetlejuice.
get mad.
Yeah. Get out of here! You bother me! Scram! That kind of stuff. It's fun.
I gotta say, as when I was a little kid watching Sesame Street, I thought he was always so mean. But then now that I'm older, I'm just like, he wasn't mean. It was just he wants to be left alone at times
Right,
without
right.
someone bothering him.
I always say that Oscar the Grouch is my spirit animal.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I gotta say the same thing. Like
Yep.
uh, Oscar the Grouch, and then Cookie Monsters, because Cookie Monsters is a whole fan favorite, and who can't go wrong with a cookie? Like you can't be mad at a cookie.
Exactly. And Grover, you gotta love Grover, and you gotta
Nick
I love them
Rover.
all. It's just, but when I built Beautiful Day, I realized that he was one of the earliest Muppets made. And of
Mm,
course, Beautiful Day, it was in the Henson collection when he took the job on Sesame Street. But
yeah,
they used him in a couple of sketches, but then they started working him out in favor of Cookie Monster and some of the characters that would last for a longer time. In Grover, when he started, he was actually green. He wasn't blue, and then they changed him to blue. Oscar was originally orange, and they turned
yeah,
him to green. But it was just kind of funny to watch how these original Muppet characters kind of got integrated into Sesame Street, and then they kind of changed a little bit over time, or were just retired altogether.
yeah, yeah.
So it's fascinating, fascinating stuff. But yeah, I was into puppets as a kid and doing voices, and some of the earliest voices I learned how to do was Sesame Street voices. And one of the very first job I got on Family Guy was doing Bert from Sesame Street. I'm like, all right, well, all that research I did as a kid finally paid off in a job, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So did anybody like special inspired you to like, when you told like them, you like, I'm gonna be a voice actor, and they were just like, do it, like, this is you, or anything?
Well, I just wanted to be an actor, just an actor, and I came out here and did some on camera auditions, but fell out of love with it fairly quickly, and
Mm,
fell in love with voice acting because I was always a cartoonist, and I would always do character voices in my radio show as a radio DJ. So
okay.
I never really had anybody discouraging me, thankfully, when I was growing up. Everybody always said, "Oh yeah, well you're kind of meant to do this." But I hear from a lot of other people that I know saying, "Oh no, my family always said, oh, don't do that, don't try that." They're always being
Yeah,
very
yeah.
discouraging. But my family, my friends, everybody always said, "Oh no, this is what you're meant to do. You should get out of here." So,
That,
yeah, because they knew I was making puppets when I was a kid, and I was doing shows, dressing up as characters, running around, doing things, and they said, "No, this is what you totally need to do." So I'm lucky that I was able to come out here and actually do it.
yeah,
Um,
that's always good to hear that, nobody discouraged you, and everybody was full on like, this is you, this is, keep doing what you want to do, like, don't let nobody stop you.
right. And everybody said, "Well, it's going to be tough," but what isn't, in life.
Oh yeah,
Um,
oh, yeah.
I'm
Especially
sure
back
that
then.
yeah, I'm sure that in your job you see, great little animals, but then sometimes they're sick and they're old and you have to let them go, and that would be a part of that job that I just, would really have a hard time with. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
somebody's got to do it, and it's part of life.
yeah. It's not made for everybody. I thought it wasn't when I first started. It wasn't something I can do, but then, like, I guess I learned to just, you gotta block it, and you just gotta understand also that, like, unfortunately, animals don't last forever, and that you gotta love them from who they are now, and then keep remembering them after.
Right. That's the best way to do it. And then there's a song that I loved from the 80s called Live Every Moment. And that's just what you got to do. Live every moment. Don't let a second slide by. don't waste a second on. I mean, everybody needs to relax, so you have video games and stuff, but don't
Yeah.
waste. There's time for everything. I have a saying: in all things, moderation. If you want to have a Coca-Cola, have one. Just don't have 20. If you
Yeah.
want to have a taco, have one. Just don't have 20. If you want to, smoke a joint, have one. Just don't make that your life. In all things, moderation. Um,
I don't know.
so
I could probably eat about 20 tacos.
what is
If I
what?
I could probably eat about 20 tacos and I put my mind.
Yeah, so could I, but I'd be,
Oh yeah.
I'd be all the worse for later. So I have to just, in all things moderation. But
Yeah.
yeah, put the phone down, kids. Enjoy life. Look at things around you. Stop looking at the life through a screen that big. Get out and meet people and talk to people and enjoy the day. And a lot of the people who suffered horrible reactions to the COVID pandemic
Yeah.
is because they were lacking vitamin D3. There was a severe D3 deficiency they're finding out, and zinc and some other things, in addition to hyperactive immune systems, which also hurt people quite a bit. But the
Yeah.
reason people have a vitamin D3 deficiency is they don't get enough sunshine.
Yeah.
And
They
if
don't
they do,
out.
they put sunscreen all over them, which is, good. But, come on, folks, get a little bit of sunshine, get that vitamin D3. So, I don't know, just get out of the house, put the phone down, go out and play and goof around and do something and walk and jog and enjoy life. Go to a park, go look at dogs. I
Yeah.
always say, another saying I always have is, cure depression, build more dog parks. You never see people depressed at dog parks.
No. No.
Everybody I've ever met at a dog park is just joyful and they're happy and they're talking to people about their dogs. And you never see anybody sit at a dog park going,
Oh yeah.
you just don't. Everybody's happy. They're like, it's amazing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the cure for depression. Get out of the house and, meet some dogs. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. No, definitely. Times really has changed. I'm a '90s kid, and like we was always encouraged to like go outside, go play with friends, go 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 to the park, go do something instead of like playing video games or watching TV. It
yeah.
was always do something, but now like I wouldn't say this age and time, but like it's gotten to where like everybody stays home, everybody plays video games, everybody is streaming a video game or just home in general, and but
Yeah,
now
I
like
totally
that
agree.
that's
Well,
the thing.
here's another thing too, is in your generation, they'd say, "Go out and play, go to the park and play," and you come back, you're like, "Oh, mom, I fell down and skinned my knee. Put a Band-Aid on it and shut up and come to lunch."
Yep.
Nowadays, like, "Oh my gosh, you skinned your knee, we're gonna sue somebody, and it's unsafe, and we're gonna little." Shut up, put a Band-Aid on it, it'll be
Yeah.
okay. Stop
Yes.
suing everybody. So that's why a lot of people don't go because it's not safe. Oh, we have to put a helmet on every inch of our kid. And I was like, I fell
Yeah.
off my bike so many times and skinned every inch of my body. I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's so
We
weird.
we all live through a scratch or a scrape or a cut. Like we'll be fine.
George Carlin has a great uh, routine about the immune system and how the immune system works. And he said, when I was growing up, everybody's talking about polio. We never got sick. We used to swim in the Hudson River. It was raw shit. We used to swim in raw shit. We got good immune systems. Your immune
Yeah.
system needs something. He just went off about how your immune system has to have something to fight. And if you, and if you shelter from everything, and then your immune system doesn't have a chance to work, it's really funny. So he was
It but he's not wrong, and I even told my friends like it snows in New York, and like these snows is not compared to like how when I was a kid, like we would still have to walk through school
Oh
to
yeah.
these inches of snow, but now these kids like don't know about that because it doesn't get that snow, and then when it does, it's just like we're just gonna close schools, and I'm just like, we have 5 inches of snow. We will walk through that to get to school.
Right. Like,
Nowadays, just like, no, stay home, no school. I'm just like,
yeah,
kids these days are like lucky. I'm
my
not gonna
dad,
say I
yeah. My
wasn't
dad
lucky.
always used to say, when
Shoot.
I was a kid, we had to walk 5 miles to school, uphill, both ways. Which was a
Oh yeah.
joke. You can't walk uphill both ways because you got to walk downhill at one point. But it's pretty. We used to walk to school 5 miles uphill both ways.
Yeah, nowadays it's just, you get a, for New
I
York
don't
we
want.
get a
Yeah, I don't
trains
want to
and
sound like the
buses.
old fogey on the porch. Like Statler and Waldorf going, "Oh, back in my day." Yeah. So anyway.
And it's crazy, but times have changed, so I guess we gotta adapt a little bit, I guess.
We have to adapt, but we also have to be sensible about it and just, I don't know, be reasonable because sometimes
Yeah,
it's a little silly.
definitely.
I,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I like I like logic, and
yeah.
I like to apply logic to a lot of stuff in my life. And just every time, when I see something that's illogical, I just turn into Mr. Spock, and I'm like, totally illogical. And you see a lot of it nowadays, with crazy stuff going on. It's like, well, that just doesn't make any logical sense to me at all whatsoever.
Oh
And
yeah,
we
oh yeah.
don't teach logic in school, logical thinking, and I wish we kind of did because you have to, weigh both sides and say, well, if that happens, then this is going to happen, and that's not logical. Anyway, I digress. We're not talking about voiceover anymore. Apparently, we got off on a whole different tangent.
No, no, it's fine. I gotta point out one thing because I'm a big fan of this video game, and I know you did some work for it, which was Gears of War 2, and you play. I think you play like 3 different characters from. I know it was mostly like soldiers, and like how how was your experience with that? Like, because I am like a big Gears of War fan, so how was your experience if you remember? Because I know you've done a lot of work, so some people can't remember all the work they've done.
I don't remember, honestly. I wish I did. Usually if you're like a lead in a video game, they bring you in for a couple of sessions and you kind of remember that, like, the
Yeah,
Riddler or whatever. I remember those, but for those things where you just kind of come in and you read 3 or 4 hours and you do some stuff. Well, we'll have you do this character now, have you do this character. And pretty
yeah.
soon all of these, was I a character in that?
I know from what I remember seeing you was it wasn't like the main character, and I guess that it was just more like one of the soldiers. He was like a soldier for, and I guess for a scene or two. So maybe that's why like
Yeah.
you
No,
just
I'm not.
came.
Unfortunately, I'm not having any kind of recall on that. But
Uh,
yeah,
it's
they all
okay.
start to kind of blur together after a while. And what's really funny is I would meet some of the people that I would love in not video games, but in cartoons.
Mm,
And I would bring them up an animation cell to sign, and they would say, "Was I in this?" And I'm like, "Well, that's your character." And I was just thinking that, well, they're getting old, they're losing their memory. And then I got in the business, and you realize after your IMDb page becomes about 7 pages long, yeah, the recall on some of those smaller jobs, you just really don't really have much of a recall on it. You just, as long as the check shows up and you're happy and you go off your merry way. Plus, remember, a lot of these things when you show up to take the job, they say it's called something else that it's not. It's not called Gears of War. It's called um, Super Tramp. They have code names for them, so they don't, or they call it Pink Floyd, or they call it Zeppelin or something.
yeah,
They
yeah,
all name these things different. Like I think the Arkham games were named, Ozzy and Bono, and they were named after all these rock stars, and you didn't even know what you were working on until you showed up. And you're like, oh, I get it. It's the new Batman game. I get it. Okay. So when I did the Gears of War thing, I might have just thought it was called Sticks
yeah,
or you know Sticks and Journey,
yeah, yeah.
Pure Prairie League. Oh, I'm working on a video game called Pure Prairie League. That's so weird. So I don't know. So they don't sometimes call these things exactly what they are right away anyway. So
Oh, that's funny. I never knew that, but that's interesting to know that like they'll give a code name before you actually get to know what you're actually doing.
Well, two reasons for that is one is they don't want you to tweeting about it.
Got it.
And the second, until they can get you your NDA signed, non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other reason is they may just not have a title for it yet. It may just be a working title. What was the thing I worked on last week? I don't know. It was some randomly named thing, and you just have no clue what it's being, what it's going to eventually be called. But okay, whatever. I'm gonna Tropic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go work on Tropic. There's just these random words that they call these things, and I have no idea what it is. And it turns out to be like a G.I. Joe game or something. It's like, what? So I don't know. They have all these strange working titles for things. I don't know. I'm just speaking hypothetically. I'm not saying there's actual G.I. Joe game, but I'm just using that as an example. But anyway, it's kind of goofy, but those are the reasons for why they do that.
Oh yeah, I can understand that now. Just so like they don't want nobody slipping up, and then everybody gets their hopes up that something comes out, and then it just like disappears because you're just like, hey, what happened? And then
yeah,
yeah, I guess I can understand that. So was like Ranger Stop, because I always go to Ranger Stop, and I know I saw you there once. Was that like your first official Power Ranger con, or like did you go? Was there another one for you?
Did you go in Orlando?
Yeah, I went to one on. I actually was one of the helpers, and I did help you at one of your tables.
Oh, you did? Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that. Sorry, but that was such an overwhelming experience with all those people there. It's like, wow. I had done one Robo Toy Fest. I think I had done out here for just a couple of hours just to see kind of what it was like.
Yeah.
But I said, well, I've never been to Orlando, and it sounds like a good time, and I went. And a friend of mine works for Disney and Universal, so he got me tickets to Disney World, and I'd never been to Disney World, so I thought this is great. And I got to hear myself on the Pirates ride, which is really cool. And we went through a second time so I could get some video of me on the Pirates ride. So it was pretty awesome. So that was a great trip.
That's cool.
I'd go again, but all the travel
what character was you on the Pirates ride?
I was a bunch of the heckling pirates. They changed a section of the ride so they're not auctioning women anymore. They're now auctioning poultry and gold and rum and stuff. So on one side, when you're going through the thing, you see the auctioneer and the redhead and the chickens and everything. But on the other side, you see all these pirates, yelling, heckling basically.
Yeah.
So I'm a couple of those guys, and I think I'm a bald guy that's sitting right on the bridge, like overhead. So that's kind of cool to hear your voice coming out of an animatronic in Disneyland. That's kind of a special thing, because when I went to Disneyland for the first time in 1976 with my family, Pirates was my favorite ride. I said, this is terrific. And now to actually be in Pirates, one of the dream come trues stories,
That is awesome. I never knew that, and I'll keep my ears out for next time, when everything gets a little back to normal, and if of course if the ride's still there, because they're always changing rides and sometimes updating, so you never know if they.
Well, they're not going to change this for a while because they just put it in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, recently. Well, it was a couple of years ago when they changed it because people were saying, auctioning off women probably isn't in the current day and age, or any day and age, isn't probably a really good thing, for families to see. So they said, yeah, you're probably right. We should auction something else off. So that's when they changed that aspect of the ride, and I got cast as some heckling pirates, and I said, wow, this is great. So that'll probably, my voice tracks will probably be in there long after I'm gone, because Paul Frees, who did Haunted Mansion and who did Pirates originally, his voice is still heard in there, and he's been long gone for decades. So, pretty cool. So that those will outlive me, which is kind of neat.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, that is pretty cool. I hope, and hopefully you get to be on there for a really long time, because you are a fan favorite with everybody. So
Oh,
You know,
thanks.
we
Well,
yeah.
knock wood, it'll happen.
Yes, definitely. So before we end the show, um, do you have like anything inspiring words for anybody that a lot of people I know that get in, like that go into cons or like want to get into voice acting, they always have like the same question of like, how did you get started, like, or like what can I do to be a voice actor or improve myself, because I know some go to the table, be like, hey, I do this voice and that voice, and then they look for improvement. Sometimes, fortunately, like not a lot of people are just like not a give good advice. They're just like, oh, you could do better, keep trying. So anything inspirational for people that want to be in the same business as you?
Hmm. Never trust a naked bus driver.
I
That's what
wouldn't.
yeah. No, just if you really want to do this, first of all, be a really good actor. Voice acting at its core is acting. Still, it's just you're not on camera, but you're still acting. You're still taking words that somebody else has written and putting them in your mouth and making it hopefully sound like you're saying it. And training. Just get trained, keep training. And if you don't see yourself ever doing anything else but this, then do it. But if you're kind of like, well, I kind of like to dabble in it, but I'm not sure. I don't know. No, if there's any hesitation at all, then it's not for you, because there are people out there that you're competing with who are 115% all about this. And that's, they live it,
Yeah,
breathe it, and do it. And there's just no way that anything's going to happen because you're competing against people like that.
yeah,
So, unless you can't picture yourself ever doing anything else but, don't do it. Just do it, as a hobby and to, read stories to your kids or to fool your friends or goof around at whatever. But if you want to do it professionally, it's a lot of sacrifice. So
oh yeah,
just be prepared for that. But, they always say if you want to win big, you got to gamble big. And that means making a huge gamble and moving to a huge town that you're probably not very sure of. And I have a friend who I'm building the Prairie Dawn puppet with right now. Actually, we're building two of them, one for her, one for me. And she's moving out here in 2 weeks to
oh
do
good,
acting. Well, she's an actress model, not to get into voiceover. She wants to be on camera.
okay,
But she's 22 and she's like, no, this is the time I want to do it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna come out here and do it. And if it doesn't work, I'll fall back on something else. But I've got to do it now while I still have youth on my side and kind of the crazy carefree attitude of like, well, I can always sleep on somebody's couch, that kind of thing. So you have to. It's a huge commitment. And if you have the talent and have the ability and have the training, I told a friend of mine a long time ago who moved out to Los Angeles to get into music. I
yeah,
said, you have to be virtually, you have to be a Jedi. You have to
yeah,
be emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, physically at your optimum.
yeah,
And if there's one little deviation in any of that, it's not gonna work. And she came out here and got lazy real fast and, you know, got found a boyfriend and, then it all went south because she lost her focus. And
yeah,
she didn't stay psychologically, physically, mentally, spiritually, at the optimum. And she eventually moved away and couldn't do it. So if you have any sort of weaknesses at all, drugs, alcohol, any of that stuff that could get you in serious trouble, that could potentially derail you from your mission, don't
yeah,
do it. You're not a Jedi. The nice
yeah,
thing is my friend Michelle, who's moving out here, she is a Jedi. No booze, no drugs, no, and she's a meticulous planner. She plans all this stuff down to the letter, and she knows where she's gonna get her car. She's got her insurance thing all figured out. She knows where she's gonna live. She's got her place already picked out, and it's like that's the way to do it. And she'll
yeah,
probably be very successful because she is a meticulous planner and will do it right, as opposed to just kind of by the seat of her pants going, well, I could crash on this person's couch and I could do this, and I don't know, maybe I'll do this. And people who don't plan, you know what they call them? Homeless. because there are
Yep.
plenty of people who came out here and with no plan and got derailed into drugs or alcohol or whatever and ended up, on in a cardboard box on the street. So it's kind of sad, but I was the same way. I was a meticulous planner. When I moved out here, I had a yellow legal pad. I wish I still had it. Maybe I do down on my junk in the garage. But on my legal pad, I had it, categorized one after the next what I was going to do. Because an airplane doesn't just start on the ground and all of a sudden, it's 30,000
Oh,
feet in the air. There's
yeah.
a there's an altitude change that you have to do gradually, and you have to get up to cruising altitude. So I had, a number one was find a day job, just find a grunt job somewhere, just have
Yeah.
some sort of money coming in, and then eventually get into radio. And through radio, I would join the AFTRA, the union. And then after I was in radio a certain amount of time, I would be Screen Actors Guild eligible, join Screen Actors Guild, and then the next step, then the next step, then the next step. And thank God it worked out almost exactly like that. But you gotta have a plan, you gotta have a mission, it's all gotta work. Um, but you've got to be, it's like I said, got commitment and a sacrifice, because you'll sacrifice some horrible things. You'll, have
Yeah.
to leave a girlfriend or a boyfriend behind because nobody's gonna, live the dream like you want to live the dream.
Yeah, definitely.
And don't move out with a bunch of people because taking anything up in committee is never fun. It's, be a
Yeah.
lone wolf and do it, but it's not for everybody. It's really not for everybody, but the people that it works for have fought and scrapped a long time, and it's never easy. Never easy. It's never easy. Even though it
Yeah.
seems, to some people, it's like, oh, overnight sensation. Well, it took, 7 years to get there, 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
I was on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno for a while, for the last 4 years that he had the show, and I was the opening announcer, in addition to doing some character voices for different bits.
That's
The
awesome.
the opening announcement took about 40 seconds. So, but I did it live, where the music's playing and the things are coming up on the screen, and I'm doing it live. There's no pre-recording. If I
Yeah.
screwed up, you heard it. You screwed up. I would have to do it again after the show, wrapped before it hit the air. But there was only one time I ever had to do that where I misread something. But it was not nerve-wracking, but it was exciting because you hear
Yeah.
the countdown in your headset, 3, 2, 1, music, announce, and you're on, and you have to do it right. So it's about maybe 35 to 40 seconds, the intro, and then Jay comes out and you're done. So uh, I said to the sound guy, I said, "Oh, this is the greatest job in the world. I only got to be good for 35 seconds." And he said the greatest thing, he says, "Yeah, but it took you 20 years to get here." And I'm like, "You're absolutely right. It took you 20 years to get a job where you can make a lot of money for 45 seconds of work." So it's
Well,
pretty
yeah.
yep.
That's crazy, but you got to start somewhere small, and then, you know, um, you'll get to that ladder where you're like something big, and then you're well known in your work. And that's all that matters. And
Well, yeah, that and yeah, as long as what you've done has had an impact on people, that's
yeah,
nice. Um, I just talked to my interview at 2 o'clock this afternoon was with a young lad from Dublin, or as he says,
oh,
Dublin, from
nice.
Dublin, and he's 13, and he wants to get into doing this kind of stuff. He's a fan of all this stuff, and he's interviewed about two or three other people. And I sent him. He said, "Can I interview you?" Because he likes the Riddler from the Arkham games. I said,
Yes,
"Okay,
definitely.
well, send me a sample of some of your interviews." So he did, and I just fell in love with the kid's energy and his knowledge and how smooth he was with everything. And I said, "Yeah, you know what? I'd love to do." Hold on, I'm losing my camera here. I'd love to do a this Velcro is starting to unstick. There we go. So I said, "Yeah, I'd love to go." So I said, "Yeah, I really love your vibe and your energy, and I'd love to do it." So he was elated because he had played all the Arkham games, and his friends, used to. Because I like to interview them as well when I do one
Yeah.
of these. I like to ask, like, "What do you do?" Vet tech. Oh, that's cool. Do you have to ever put animals down? Because that would suck, and the whole thing. But I was asking him, and he says, "Oh, we used to play Batman Arkham Asylum, with his friends all the time when he was a little kid. And he's, 13 now, but when Arkham came out, he was, you know, 5 or 6, and he
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah,
So I said, "Well, what character are you?" He says, "Well, sometimes I'd be the Riddler, and sometimes I'd be Two-Face." I'm like, "That's cool." And another friend would be Batman, the other guy would be somebody else, the Joker. And it's just knowing uh that kind of stuff that we just went in to do, kind of for fun and
yeah,
money, uh, has had such an impact on people's lives because look at all this stuff, that I
yeah.
collect. This all gave me joy, when I was a kid, and
Oh
now I
yeah,
can finally, it's just it's kind of great that all of that stuff that meant something to me, like over my shoulder, Adam West and Burt Ward, as Batman and
yes,
Robin, and loved that show when I was a kid. So it goes on, it goes on and on and on, and stuff that I love inspires me to do stuff, and then I'll do stuff, and it inspires other people. And this kid, will probably grow up and be some sort of big media personality because he's getting to it really young, and then his work will inspire somebody else, and they'll do something. It's a chain reaction, and it's kind of a cool thing.
yeah.
So I like.
It comes in full circle for everybody at times.
Now I saw. Did you send me the a link of you over in New Zealand or something interviewing somebody?
Yes, I was interviewing somebody in from New Zealand.
Right, and you were over there at a convention?
No, I wasn't over there. I just interviewed them and how we're doing now.
Oh, I see, I see. Because I
I
thought I
would love
saw
to go to New Zealand. I would love to go to New Zealand. That looks amazing out there.
I thought I saw where you were sitting down talking to a guy at a convention.
um, you probably, you know what? I don't even remember. I'm horrible at remembering things. So
Oh,
I'll probably have to look back, but I probably did. Maybe it was Ranger Stop, if anything.
oh man, oh that might have been. That might have been. Because
Yeah,
I get, like I said, I get so many of these requests for interviews sometimes, and I look at all the stuff and I look at their work. And I got people saying, "Well, you can do that, can't do that," and you have to, whatever. There's a whole criteria. But
yeah,
I always
no,
like to at least check their stuff out, and see about doing this stuff. So that's kind of
definitely.
so well. Good for you for continuing to do this. Hopefully, the conventions will come back soon, and we'll all be back at it. And I can take Rolf the dog out for a walk.
Oh,
And
I would love to see that one day.
yeah, are you a Muppet fan?
Oh yeah, big Muppet fan from I grew up on the Muppets from from like their adult version, and then baby Muppets. Like that was just my thing growing up.
Yeah,
I loved it.
yeah. No, it's since the kid was from Ireland earlier today, I brought Robin the Frog up, little Robin the Frog.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
green, green, Ireland. So I said, here's the connection there. It's something green. So
yeah.
yeah, I've I've always loved that ever since I was a kid, and I just never got out of it. Just always loved the Muppets. So
Oh yeah, I still love the Muppets to this day. It's just a I guess you could say a classic for me and a classic for other people. The I will say Muppets will never get old. That's what I say.
I don't think so either. I think they're around to stay for a long time. So that's
Oh yeah,
thank God for that.
and even if people forget about them, they'll pop up somewhere. It'll be like, oh my god, the Muppets.
Right. Yeah, just like Power Rangers, it'll always
Oh
last.
yeah,
That'll last
right.
forever. So,
Definitely,
where do you get
definitely.
all those helmets?
I have a well, not I have a I know a maker in Mexico that does helmets, and I like his work, so I support him and his work, and I get helmets from him. I
Now, do
actually
they
have
fit? If you put them on,
yeah,
do they fit?
yeah, yeah,
You could actually wear one.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's hard to breathe at times, but when you get into your cosplay, as you'll sacrifice a little air.
Yeah. Well, I used to do Darth Vader. I was one of the first Darth Vader cosplayers ever back in
Oh
like
yeah.
80, 81,
Uh-huh.
82. And nobody was doing cosplay back then. It was just not unheard of, unless
Yeah,
you were a professional actor who was hired by a company to put the suit on and go do stuff. But I would just walk around the shopping mall, just saying hi to kids and stuff. And that was remember having that helmet on. It was like by the time you pull it off, you're like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that's like,
Oh,
Rick Moranis says in Spaceballs, I can't breathe in this thing. You really can't. It's like wearing
oh
this
yeah.
mask that everybody's wearing. It's like, can't breathe. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Me and my friends say that all the time. We can't. We'll sacrifice just some little bit of air for the kids because when we go to convention stuff, we do it for the kids. And especially for ourselves too because we was big fans. But we do it for the kids.
right. I feel sorry for the Deadpool guys because they're covered head to toe. They don't have 1 square inch of skin,
Oh
for,
yeah.
to breathe anywhere. So it's pretty funny. But see if Rolf has
Yeah.
something to say here. Okay, well, all right, that's about it from over here in Hollywood.
Yes.
Nice
Nice talking to you, Rolf.
Have fun over there in New York City. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You stay safe out there.
Oh, I always stay safe. I'm a very safe dog. Yep. Woof. Woof.
Well,
woof.
you be good to Wally over there.
Who? Never heard of
You
him.
be good. Ah,
Oh, you. Oh, okay.
yes.
Got it.
You
Got
be
it.
good to him.
All right. I got it. All right. See ya. Thanks, Lewis.
All right, see you. No problem. He's great. That's so great.
I love him.
So Wally, so before we end the show, where can people find you so they can follow your work or if they want to stay up to date with fun things that you do, where can they find you?
Let's see. My website is wallyontheweb.com. Instagram is wally.wingert. And Twitter is at Wally Wingert. And there you go. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and if any of people out there are into the dark Christmas thing, because a lot of people are getting into dark Christmas, Halloween and Christmas are almost tied for favorite holiday. So I have a 13-story. It's kids stories for adults. There's nothing dirty in them or anything. It's just that the adults get some of the references that I put in there. It's called Donnie Druthers' Christoween Capers, and you can find out all about it at christoween.net, CHRISTOWEEN, like Christmas, but Christoween. And that's my pet project right now with the 13 stories. We're looking for strategic partners, manufacturers, publishers, animation companies who might want to make these holiday specials.
Ooh,
Kind of inspired by Nightmare Before Christmas. It's that
yeah.
whole thing. But we have a cool bunch of characters, and the stories are all kind of like Dr. Seuss and rhyme scheme, and they're fun. But we have one. The first story, Frankified, is up in animatic form, which is a cartoon, but not really a cartoon. It's like a series of storyboard still shots edited together to kind of give you an idea of what a cartoon would be like without it being fully animated at the cost of $1 million. So christoween.net and check that out. And yeah, still continuing to do voiceover stuff. I was Barney Rubble in a TV commercial on the New Year's Eve for Pebbles cereal, which is celebrating 50 years this year.
Oh wow.
And just did a crazy video game the other day that's named something crazy. I don't know. But it's not the name it's going to be. Where I was tons of characters. They said there was 4,700 characters in this video game. It's going to be
Oh
epic.
wow.
And I was about 4,300 of them. No, I was about probably 50 characters. I don't think we quite made it to 100. Some of the characters only had one line.
Mm.
But it was okay. The next character is, because they just kept throwing them at me in the 4-hour session. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
boy.
sure. And they said, you know what? You don't even have to worry about making him sound that different because this character won't be anywhere near this other character. So if they sound similar, it's not gonna matter. So
Yeah.
So there you have it.
All right. Well, I
That's
definitely really appreciate you coming on the show today, and definitely keep doing all the amazing work you've done. I love them all, and we hope to see more in the future. And I'll definitely be checking out that Crystalline because I do both of those holidays are both my favorites, and I'll definitely be checking that out.
Well, there's a whole as I go to these conventions, Monsterpalooza and some of these others, I see like there's a real movement going on for people to, some people don't. Everybody celebrates Christmas kind of differently. There's
Yeah,
your religious observance, there's your secular observance, and then there's the people who have the full sleeve of like Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff tattoos and Frankenstein and all this stuff. And they celebrate Christmas a little differently with black Christmas trees and orange lights and skeletons instead of little
yeah, yeah,
bells. So it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And zombie elves, and they like their own take on it. So this is kind of what that is, and hope you like it. So make
yeah.
sure and send me the link to this when you post it. Oh, I'm losing my thing again. Look at that. Hello. Oh, there's my ceiling. Hi, ceiling. Oh, I gotta work on this. So send me the link when this posts, and I'll tweet it out.
Thank you, thank you. And everybody, if you know me, you can follow me on Instagram mostly. It's underscore official, and follow MDMC Entertainment on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, give this show a thumbs up if you all loved Wally today, and leave a comment for him. And that'll be a wrap, everybody. Everybody have a good rest of your day.
All right. See you later. Thanks, Lewis.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.